What if I told you that one of Hollywood's biggest heroes
Iron Man
was once one of its biggest screw-ups? Before the red carpets, the Oscars, and the Iron Man suit, Robert Downey Jr. was a man on the edge, a child actor raised on chaos, drugs, and film sets, a prodigy who lost everything to addiction, and somehow crawled out of hell to become the face of $1 billion universe. This is not just a story about fame, it's about survival, redemption, and the price of genius. From being handcuffed on Sunset Boulevard.
This time, a judge gave Downey hard time. State prison for nearly 1 year.
To shaking hands with the president. From rehab to red carpets. From self-destruction to legend. Today, we're diving into the insane life of Robert Downey Jr., the man who turned his darkest moments into the greatest comeback Hollywood has ever seen. Robert Downey Jr. was born straight into a movie set, Manhattan, 1965. His dad was a director, his mum an actress. They were the cool, artsy kind of parents, the ones who talked about freedom, creativity, and how rules were for other people. The problem? That freedom came with drugs, broken hearts, and total emotional chaos. His dad, Robert Downey Sr., was a creative genius, but also a heavy drug user. His mom, Elsie, was talented, emotional, and just as lost. Little Robert was the kid sitting on a film set while everyone around him was smoking, drinking, or yelling about art. By age 6, he wasn't building Lego sets. He was being handed joints, not by strangers, by his own father. That's not parenting. That's generational trauma wrapped in cigarette smoke. His first movie role was in one of his dad's weird indie projects called Pound. He played a puppy. Cute idea, right? Except the entire cast was high. So there's this little kid surrounded by adults acting like animals. And they actually were animals, chemically speaking. By 12, his parents divorced. His childhood split in two. He lived with his mom in a small New York apartment, while his sister stayed with their dad. He loved both of them, but they were both drowning. He started sleeping less, talking faster, trying to be funny all the time. That was his defense mechanism. Make everyone laugh before they notice you're falling apart. By 17, he dropped out of high school and moved to New York with a suitcase and a dream. He waited tables, did theater, and slept on couches. No plan, no safety net, just talent and chaos.
Good evening, I'm Jimmy Schatz.
And I'm Ashley.
And we are actors on film.
He once said, "I was raised on love, movies, and drugs." Not necessarily in that order.
Because it's too easy to jump on that wagon of it's a disease and my brain's been hijacked and I no longer have a choice in the matter. I think there's that element for sure, but past a certain point you have to stand up inside yourself and change. You know.
That's not a punchline, that's prophecy, because that cocktail, love, movies, and drugs, would make him a star and almost kill him. The 80s were good to Robert, too good. He was young, funny, charismatic, and girls loved him. He joined Saturday Night Live for a season.
I'm looking at America, yeah. I'm looking at...
Then hit movies like Weird Science and Less Than Zero. In Less Than Zero, he played a wealthy kid addicted to drugs. The scary part, he wasn't acting, he was living the role. Hollywood called him the next big thing, but Hollywood also gives you enough rope to hang yourself. And Robert grabbed both ends. By the 90s, he was everywhere, and so were his mugshots. He'd film a movie, then disappear for days. Police would find him asleep in his neighbor's house, in a child's bed, completely high. Imagine waking up surrounded by Pokemon toys and cops. That's not rock bottom. That's the basement under rock bottom. He went to rehab, got out, got arrested again. Repeat, repeat, repeat. He once said, "It's like I had a shotgun in my mouth and I liked the taste of metal." That's addiction in one sentence. It feels good until it kills you. Studios stopped calling. His agent dropped him. Even his family gave up. He was talented but uninsurable. You could cast him or set your money on fire. Same result. By 2001, he was out of work, out of money, and almost out of time. But as every good movie teaches us, sometimes, just when you think the credits are rolling.
Okay, good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, Robert's been in a residential program for the last 120 days, so... Where are you? Right here.
Act 3 begins. You know that scene in every great movie, the one where the hero's bleeding out and someone unexpected saves him? That's Mel Gibson in this story. Gibson was at the top of Hollywood back then, rich, respected, slightly unhinged, and he remembered Robert from a film they'd done years ago. He'd watched him spiral, he'd seen the headlines, and instead of walking away like everyone else, he said, "I'll help him." When no studio would insure Robert for a role, Gibson literally said, "I'll pay for it myself."
So he cast me in the lead of a movie that was actually developed for him, and he kept a roof over my head, and he kept food on the table. And most importantly, he said, that if I accepted responsibility for my wrongdoings,
That's either friendship or absolute madness, probably both. He cast Robert in The Singing Detective, a small film that became a giant turning point. It wasn't a blockbuster, but it was a message. Downey could still act. Gibson went from co-star to guardian angel. He gave Robert his reputation back, and Robert never forgot it. Years later, when Gibson was getting roasted for his own controversies, Downey returned the favor. On stage, he told Hollywood, "When I couldn't get sober, Mel helped me. He gave me a second chance. I'd like to ask you to forgive him the way he forgave me."
Completely without sin, in which case you picked the wrong industry. In forgiving my friend his trespasses, offering him the same clean slate you have me, and allowing him to continue his great and ongoing contribution to our collective art without shame. He's hugged the cactus long enough.
It's rare in Hollywood, two broken men saving each other. That friendship didn't just restart his career, it saved his life. Fast forward a few years, and Robert Downey Jr. wasn't just back, he was everywhere. When Iron Man dropped in 2008, nobody saw it coming. A B-list hero, a risky actor, a director with something to prove, and it changed cinema forever. Robert got $500,000 for the first Iron Man, pocket change by Hollywood standards. By Avengers Endgame, he was making around $75 million. $75 million per movie. That's not a comeback, and that's a takeover. In total, his films have grossed over $14 billion worldwide. $14 billion. That's not just money, that's myth-level success. He once joked, "I don't care about being rich, I just hate being poor." Classic Downey. Sarcastic, sharp, honest. He built Team Downey, his own production company, with his wife Susan. Now he wasn't just starring in films, he was producing them. He went from uninsurable to owns half of Hollywood, from a trailer in rehab to a mansion with its own wind-powered farm. Let's talk about love, because even superheroes need someone to pull them back from the edge. In the 80s, he dated Sarah Jessica Parker. They were young, glamorous, perfect, until the drugs showed up. She finally left, saying, "I can't watch him destroy himself." He later admitted she probably saved his life by walking away. Then came Deborah Falconer, his first wife. They had a son, Indio. But addiction doesn't care about marriage. It tears through it. They divorced in 2004. Then came the game changer, Susan Levin. She was a producer on Gothica, and Robert instantly fell for her. She didn't. When he asked her out, she said, "I don't date actors." He replied, "That's good. I just quit." She married him anyway. Susan became the steady heartbeat in his chaos. She made him face himself, not the fame. He says every day of sobriety, every dollar he earned, every script he accepted was because she stood by him. He called her the miracle that happened after I stopped believing in them.
My wife, because I could be bussing tables at the Daily Grill right now if not for her.
Together, they built a life, 2 kids, a company, and a future. And maybe that's the most shocking part of his story, that the world's wildest man finally found peace in routine. Let's be real, without Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. doesn't exist the way we know him. And without Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man doesn't work. It was destiny in CGI. When director Jon Favreau pushed for him, Marvel wasn't convinced. They said, "He's too risky." Favreau said, "Exactly. So is Tony Stark," and he was right. The film hit theaters in 2008 and detonated like a bomb. Robert was Iron Man, the arrogance, the genius, the vulnerability, all him. It launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 20 plus movies, billions in box office, millions of fans, and every time Robert said,
I am Iron Man,
you could feel it wasn't just Tony Stark talking, it was him, a man who built his armor out of pain and wore it like redemption. Underneath the fame and the suits, there's still that kid from New York, funny, broken, self-aware. He never hides from his past. He jokes about jail like it was a weird gap year. He says, "I got really good at folding towels and really bad at staying out of trouble." He meditates now, does yoga, reads philosophy, and still cracks jokes about his therapist. He's honest about addiction. Says recovery isn't about being clean, it's about being consistent. And even with all the awards, he says the hardest part wasn't getting sober, it was staying that way. He lives like a man who's grateful for every sunrise, because there was a time he didn't think he'd see one. In 2024, he won his first Oscar, Best Supporting Actor for Oppenheimer. Decades after his mugshots, the Academy finally called his name. He walked up, smiled, and said,
I'd like to thank my terrible childhood and the Academy, in that order. I'd like to thank I'm a veterinarian, I meant wife, Susan Downey over there. She found me a snarling rescue pet, and you love me back to life. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
That moment wasn't just a trophy, it was a full circle redemption. The boy who once stole his dad's spotlight now owned the room. And now, he's stepping into one of the most intense roles of his career, Doomsday. It's dark, psychological, the opposite of Tony Stark. Industry insiders are already calling it his next Joker moment. He's diving back into the madness, but this time with control. He's not running from his demons anymore. He's using them. Because now, when Robert Downey Jr. walks into the darkness, he brings the light with him. So what do we take from all this? That rock bottom isn't the end. It's a checkpoint. That one friend, one woman, 1 second chance can flip your story upside down. That the same fire that burns you can forge you. Robert Downey Jr. isn't just an actor. He's a reminder that no matter how far you fall, there's always a way back if you're willing to fight for it. From a kid smoking weed with his dad to a man holding an Oscar in one hand and a legacy in the other. He didn't just play a hero, he became one. This was the dark comeback of Robert Downey Jr. And the story's not over yet, because the man who once fell from the sky is about to bring the apocalypse to the screen. Doomsday is coming.